say, but what were your takeaways from the exhibition?
I told the team afterwards, I looked up the definitions of scrimmage, and it said a confused struggle or fight, which is exactly what I wanted out of the match. And so we were playing with lineups. We were kind of forced into a hand a little bit to mess around and see how people would respond. And I'd much rather see that response now and how to kind of fix that response than opposed to seeing a certain result. And I know, the outside world gets involved with what the score says, but I'm reminded the record is 0-0, just as the other team. We just kind of keep moving forward and working on what we need to work on to beat our next opponent. And that's pretty much the way it goes for us. And so it's just getting back to whatever the culture is and making sure that their mentality is one point at a time, focusing on the moment at hand and how do we handle those moments when it doesn't feel as comfortable. And no better way to do it with fans out here and playing against another team. And for some players, they've been in their roles before, and some players have not. If you go back to spring match is different because you're so far away from the season, and now you're very close to the season, and you have to be able to learn how to get those responses. So super glad we had the scrimmage, and glad that we got in some of those scenarios and situations that we get to kind of test our mentality, and we just keep going from there.
Have you seen the progress you've wanted in the small window of prep that you get here in August?
Yeah, and that's the hard part, right? And that's every team's struggle of we get such a short run up to season that we have to be able to kind of figure things out fairly quickly, and just in terms of what position do they play, where do they, how did they respond with one another? A couple weeks isn't a long time to do it, but it's the same scenario that lots of teams have. So we've got, like I said, some younger players, some players that have played their position for the first time, some new faces out there, but that's the same challenge every coach is going to have. We just have to keep going one day at a time.
In an early season match like your opener on Saturday night, how much do you want to tinker or set rotations and let it go?
Of course, you're going to put out the lineup you think is the best way to do it, and we're still seeing that here this week, that some players are really stepping up and having some nice responses. So I like what we're seeing. We still probably have a few different looks that we can throw out there for sure, but I'm pretty sure about what we're going with here on the weekend.
We have Caroline back or something?
At the moment, doesn't look like it.
So I guess has it more on Vanessa Lily?
Yeah, of course. Again, everyone's got to step up in a different role, and that's kind of adversity creates opportunity. And that's the way you got to look at it. You got to have players step up any given step of the road, or just kind of keep moving forward and just being able to say hey, yeah, we got someone down, and we got to have next person up, and we got to be able to. The culture's still the same, and it's different roles for different people, but we're still looking for the same responses. We're still looking for them to play together. We're still looking for them to do certain tactics and techniques on the floor that everyone can for sure do. And now you got to do it under pressure. So it's an exciting challenge, and we're excited to get going here this week.
Yeah. Any idea when you might get back? Or?
At the moment, no. It's like with every injury, it's the idea. There's few that we know. It's long term. This one's just kind of when she's ready.
How's Taylor doing? Is she a long-term one that's kind of out?
Right now, she's got to figure out some stuff with her treatments and everything else. So at the moment, it does not look like we're going to get back for the season. But that's kind of, again, something until we get word otherwise. That's what it's looking like.
As the team responded, that's got to be pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah, and it's nothing that you can kind of prep for. We kind of, I told the team a long time ago. I said if we hang banners up in the gym, that's what everyone wants to see. But at the end of the day, we have to learn how to live life and have to learn, what life's going to throw at you. And a lot of it is randomness, and you never know what tomorrow brings. So let's be really good about living today and try to figure out the best as we can to support each other, support the group. The team was very supportive when they found out what was going on, and they were visiting her in the hospital. It was great to see that the team kind of pulled together in her favor. They're driving to Peoria to see her almost daily, including the coaches and everything else. So, in some ways, it brought the team together a lot closer. And we've been through this before. We've had injuries. Ellie, Maddie, good on the list, and it's a random one. It's nothing you can foresee really, but it's how we respond is what matters.
There's the volleyball side of it that sounds like long term. She'll be good. She'll be okay.
Yeah, and that's what she's going through, and multiple appointments to figure out her health, and that's obviously the main, the main focus for her. And she wants to get back in the gym. She's like, Coach, I want to take some reps. Like, we're we're fine. You take your time to get back to where you need to be, and when we have you back, is we'll be ready to put you back in there. But for the meantime, it's her focusing on her health and recovery.
Just curious because I'd never heard of this until she had posted about it. Had you been aware of this type of condition?
No, I know as the season goes on, she's going to want to create some platforms to kind of create more awareness around it. And we didn't know until obviously it was, it's also specialists that kind of figured it out for her. But she had just spent some bouts of being ill for a long period of time. Finally found some specialists that were able to kind of identify why she was becoming ill so often. And but it's just something that. I told her, I said, I'm not sure how many players could have handled it the way she did. Her and her parents have been fantastic in terms of how their mentality about it, and they know it's again, adversity is a part of life as well. And she's handled it, beautifully, as good as you can, in the circumstance that isn't ideal. So, yeah, it's something that she's going to try to create awareness to the platform over the course of the season.
Brooke got a lot of reps on the court last year, but what have you really seen from her kind of stepping up? She didn't really come off in that exhibition game.
Yeah, and she's stepping into a new role. So she's one of the players that's been out there before, but she's stepping into a new role and being our setter and being our floor captain and kind of directing traffic. And I tell all my setters, it's for them. It's not only about your ability to set, but your ability to run the team. We've had some good ones come through, and Jordan Poulter and Diana Brown, and I think Brooks, the next version of a really good setter that we're going to have in this conference and around the country. She's doing some really impressive things. She's very versatile. As you saw last year, she got thrown to a position she only played in high school and still made all Big Ten freshman team. And so with her, she gives us a lot of flexibility and options. And she's really stepping up in terms of being a leader and not on the court but off the court as well.
What is it about Vanessa? You saw her in the portal and said that's someone that can travel with you.
Yeah, I think with Vanessa, she just came from a school where the Ivy League isn't known for their volleyball prowess, but they definitely got some good players. And we watched film of her. Kind of the first thing that I noticed was her serve. She's got a really deadly array of serves that she can kind of pull out. And then as we kept watching her, she just made a lot of plays, and not only at left back, which is normally a libero's play. We knew she was making plays at middle back, right back. The team kind of moved her around. And then when she came here, she was like, hey, I've played in the Ivy, I want the challenge of playing in the Big Ten. And so the players outwardly say they want that. I think that's a pretty cool thing. And she's been thrown around different positions. She's used to it. She's got a great mentality of how she goes about doing it. Like I said, her serves one of the better that I've seen, and hopefully she can pull those out as we get moving forward and keep us as one of the top scoring teams in the conference.
You mentioned Ellie, Maddie, and now another sort of very unexpected medical curveball. How much has that impacted maybe what you thought you'd have on the bench? It's all been.
Yeah, and again, it's kind of one of those things. It's really tough to just plan for those. It's something that it's a freak accident. I think the difference with us is like recruiting to depth gets really difficult just because we don't have that many positions on the floor, and it's in general you don't see that many injuries happen. That being said, you see more and more. We go back to drawing board a little bit and try to recruit a little bit more depth, but even then it's hard enough to recruit one All-American, future All-American, let alone 2, 3, and 4, and 5, and go down the list of how many people would be there. But the team's been great in their response to no matter what player's been injured. They've always been very supportive of each other. It's the circumstances that aren't ideal, but we have to just be able to charge forward. And first game's on Saturday, our next practice is tomorrow, and kind of go from there.
Even northern. What can you know? The team has got a new coach. I know 6 transfers.
Yeah, you don't know much. So it's a little bit of a wait and see. And so that's why, again, we harp a lot on the basics in our gym. We're still going to serve tough. We're still going to set up a big block. We're still going to be able to take big swings on the ball when they're there. We have to be able to play our game and not get wrapped up into maybe a rowdy environment. We're staying a little bit more locally. We're going to play against teams that want to have us as an opponent. Are going to be out to beat us, but that's every single game that you're playing. And so we just talked about kind of dealing with those expectations and being able to play freely as a team. first-year coach, try to figure out, okay, where she come from, how did they play, try to mix the match, what players do they return, what are their strengths, and we try to do our best to stop the strengths, obviously, and of course try to use ours to the best we can.
Good. Cool.